Welcome to the Gameology Observatory, and we are your gameologists. I'm Bob.
This is Dora.
And I'm Tommy.
If you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, follow our social media. It's dangerous to go alone, so come along with us as we discover some recent games and technology news that has been announced. First of all, we're looking at a game that apparently has been long in development called Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. Published by Six Eye Studio and developed by 1C Entertainment, striking again. Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark sets its sights on an April 30th release, coming very soon, moving from early access to a full 1.0 launch on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Pre-orders are now available on Xbox Live with a 15% discount for Xbox members who want to lock in the highly loaded tactics adventure, and PlayStation Store with a 10% discount for all PS Plus members. I'm excited for this game. Some of the features are experiencing an epic and mature story, unfolding through over 40 major encounters and topped with challenging endgame content. A deep and complex class system with over 20 classes and 200 abilities lets you truly customize every one of your characters through the selection of their class, subclass, and passives. Craft the character you envision, be it a versatile generalist, a dedicated spellcaster, or a mighty foe-crushing specialist. Classic tactical turn-based combat battles with rugged terrain and elevation, taking place on beautifully hand-drawn environments, which you can definitely see that in the trailer. That was awesome. Customize your troops' appearance by selecting their portrait, outfit colors, and overall visuals. And equip your army with over 240 pieces of equipment, either purchased, gathered from fallen enemies, or created from crafting.
I'm really enjoying how this game is, how it looks. It seems like it's going to be a really fun game to play. Almost along the lines of Final Fantasy Tactics, but a little better. You know, like, were you guys seeing that in the trailer? How, like, everything didn't look blocky. The people actually looked like more people instead of their, blockish form. I'm so used to that in tactical games.
Oh yeah, everything looks nice, hand-drawn. The art is beautiful, even the backgrounds.
This reminds me of the old console style of RPGs. Very much tactical and placements of where you put your character, but diving really into the character, I'm doing air quotes right now, sheet of your actual players. I remember there was a Dungeons and Dragons game for the Sega that you basically created a character sheet for your wizard, your warrior, or whatever you used, Eternal Sun or something like that. And this game very much reminds me of that game. Now, the mechanics of moving around and getting around aren't the same at all, but the feel of the game and the way that the adventure plays out reminds me of the old classic styles, and I enjoy that.
In the trailer we just watched, it looked like someone just cast a shark to pop out of the water and eat somebody. The spells all look so awesome. It makes me want to play and make different characters just because of that.
Yes, and looking at the skill tree that they have in there, it looks like there's a lot that you can do. Possibly you can do all of it. They were saying about a generalist in the news. So at least a little bit of everything.
I really do enjoy the tactical games, especially when they really dive into the first one I played that gave kind of the same feel character-wise, Final Fantasy Tactics, where you have just a plethora of character choices that you can choose from. Now this one takes it a step further because you can create these and you have so many different options and abilities and variations that you can make your character. Looking at trailers, there's 7 different classes of some kind of wizard. You know what I mean? It's weird, but it's interesting. You're going to see, or we're going to see, a lot of build style videos on YouTube about this game. What's going to be the best builds? What's going to be, air quotes again, meta for this game? Do you think, because people do that now with games, that there might be some kind of update, DLC, or something like that that will flip the meta on its head? Do you think these people are going to be aware of the fact that today's people look for the one style beat all, and they're going to share it, and it kind of cheapens a game in a little bit once you figure out the perfect combo?
Right. Every time I think that a game isn't going to do what everybody else is doing now, it always does what everybody else is doing. So you're probably right. Once everybody gets comfortable in their class and they've figured out the best build, the best skills, who the most powerful characters are, there will probably be a change that upsets a lot of people.
I would hope. I always hope that happens, because that's one thing I liked about, going to jump game genre for a second, but that's one thing that I liked about Overwatch at the beginning, is that they found out that there's a meta that people are following, and they would create a character that would break that meta in half. So it would force people to figure out a new way to play the game with these new characters. Now it's getting a little ridiculous now. But I always liked the idea that the developers of the game realized, hey, you guys put a lot of effort into figuring out how to play the game as simple as possible, and you're sharing this information with a lot of people, so it's kind of cheapening the game. We're going to flip it on its head right now. Do this, nerf this guy, buff this guy, and now your whole meta changes. So it kind of gives a new exciting level to the game again. You have to figure out what the new meta is. I don't know. This new world of being able to share things about games instantly makes it very difficult, I'm sure, for these developers to be like, I got a bunch of classes you can play, and I want you to play all of the classes, so I got to make sure not 1, 2, or 3 are more powerful than the rest.
You see that with a lot of games now, where hopefully they will come out with like a DLC, a continuation of the story, if the story is as great as what's being shown. But like what you're talking about is, we'll only see playthroughs of these 4 or 5 classes because they're what's deemed best on some forum somewhere on their website. So no one ever deviates and tries to really make their own class, which really does kill and stagnate a game like this from being streamed. Like, this would be an awesome game to stream because you can make your characters whatever you want them to be. They don't have to actually be a staple. We can only be a knight, and we can only be a healer, and...
Yeah. I mean, this kind of does do away with the DPS tank healer roles. Once you get this many variations, because just like Final Fantasy, you had things like Red Knight, or Red Wizards, who also doubled in Black Magic.
Mages.
Red Mages, that's what it is. Black Magic, and they also had White Magic, so you could kind of double up on one. Now, they weren't specialized, but, if you trained them up enough, it was worth it. So then you could have more DPS and healing at the same... That's why I like this. It breaks that mold of you have to have these specific... You have to have a knight. You have to have a tank. You have to have a wizard. You have to have a healer. No, I want all healers.
I wanted all healers steamroll.
Yeah, you ain't...
Or no, we're glass cannon running through this.
Yeah. Speed run it. You kill everything in one shot.
Now, is this online? Is it gonna be like an MMO style kind of thing?
No,
I was taking it as a single player.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
gonna be a single player, but it would be something for people to watch through or have played, or they can't figure out what they want to do for themselves and they're trying to learn about the game. A lot of people look up videos of what's the best class because this game's been out for, say, a year, even though it's just coming out now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if we typed in Google right now, builds for this game, somebody's already done it.
Probably because it was in beta and it's coming to a full release now. It was in early access, rather. It's coming out full launch on April 30th. So yeah, well...
It's a beautiful game.
I'm looking forward to it. It would definitely be a game I would pick up, but it's RPG, it's story-based, it's swords and shields.
Right up my alley.
All those things are right up my alley. Yeah.
You owe me a Coke.
I'm sure we'll have a lot more news on it here at Gameology.news.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till somebody reviews this.
I was gonna say maybe a review.
I might even get it. I'm in the need of a good single-player RPG.
Speaking of, we'll go into our trading card game. A little different. Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions. PlayFusion and Games Workshop are proud to announce that the hugely successful trading card game Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions is on Nintendo Switch. Woo!
Woo woo!
Platform first for the beloved trading card game genre, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions is a modern take on collectible card games featuring true cross-play between digital and physical versions. Players scan physical cards into their collection to claim and take them onto the battlefield. Launching with the Nintendo Switch version is a brand new, huge single-player adventure, Realm Trials. With dozens of hours of content, players will fight legendary battles to conquer the mortal realms. On top of this, players can also experience a whole new way to battle with a new mode, Arena of Echoes. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw something about cross-platform on this.
Oh.
I might have to look that up.
A lot of people are doing that anymore, and it's actually, in my opinion, the way to go, honestly. I don't see why PlayStation people can't play with Xbox people, can't play with Switch people. Fortnite did that. Good. It's the only kudos I'll give
especially
Fortnite.
With a game like this, okay?
Yeah.
A game like this where it's trading cards, you only have the same people that are always going to play it. Like, unless you mix your player base, you're not going to have much to really go on. Like, so even though it's coming to the Switch, which is really awesome, and you can scan these cards in, there's people that aren't going to end up playing with other people because no one's playing on the Switch. Like, as big a following as, say, on the Xbox or on PC.
Yeah.
So just to add, it says, harness the custom-crafted decks from one of the 4 Grand Alliances and challenge friend or foe across the world and across platforms. The Nintendo Switch version supports full crossplay with Steam and mobile devices. And of course, the cute little tag of take it on the go with Joy-Con and touchscreen support or at home.
Now, one thing that I think is cool about this, and I feel like the first digital version of Magic the Gathering tried to do the same thing, is the mixing of physical and digital cards. Being able to use your physical cards, scanning them in some way to put into your digital deck. That's pretty cool.
I do like that. Pokemon did a thing sort of like that as well. When you would buy Pokemon trading cards, it still happens now. You would get a special card that had a code on it, and you would put that in online, and you opened a virtual pack with that code as well.
With the same cards that were in that booster?
No, they're not the same exact cards that you got in that booster, but it's a whole random booster for the online, which you can play online with anybody else, which I thought was really awesome. I wish that would have came to more mobile devices. Who knows, Nintendo, that might be the next thing that they do. You know, trading card game, you can scan all your cards in. People will be getting rid of their cards. It's all virtual now.
It's starting to go that way, because Magic the Gathering now has their second version of their digital format, Magic the Gathering Arena. And I'm just going to take that as like the first one, 2.0. It's a heck of a lot better than the first version they had. A lot better. The story beginning part is just a tutorial kind of thing, so there's really not much of a story there's a story to Magic the Gathering, but in the game itself, you only get a tutorial version.
The last time I played one, like, on any system, it was back when they were doing years. You know what I mean? So it was Magic the Gathering, like, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, that's the format that they were doing before Arena, which they have now. I did dabble in the Pokemon version of Online too, like the card thing, because I was a Pokemon kid growing up a little bit.
The great thing about the video game version of trading card games, or just card games in general, is opening up to a whole new audience. Someone like me never really picked up trading card games until I tried Magic. I failed, didn't have a good tutor. Then I went to Too Many Games shortly after the Transformers trading card game came out, and I've been hooked ever since. But I like Transformers. That's something that I was already into, so it was easy for me. But having a video game that's like this, the trading card game style, is going to encourage players who have played a trading card game in a video game to go out there and purchase physical cards. And, well, now you're making more money.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe we can find cards. I've been having trouble finding cards unless they're Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or Magic. That's all you find. Can't find any Transformers cards.
Nope. I used to play a lot of card games, table card game, whatever you want to call them. Growing like Legend of the Five Rings, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. I dabbled in Yu-Gi-Oh! When it first came out. Not gonna lie, I didn't get the concept though, so it didn't last long. But I agree with you, Dora, that this digital format that they're starting to go, it's going to inspire the better ones of the community within the digital community to go out and buy actual cards. Because, be realistic, all of the actual sanctioned tournaments that go with these games are still going to be done with physical copies of the cards.
Yes.
I don't think that's going to go the digital route anytime soon. Because it's something about getting people together in, like, say, a stadium, or really it's an auditorium, and seeing people play. It makes it a little bit more personal. Instead of seeing somebody on a screen. But I think it's going to maybe help, for sure, that scene, the physical card tournament scene. But it might even potentially start bringing in a little bit of competition that people didn't know existed.
Exactly. And now, just thinking about it too, I'd like to add, the trading card game scene was always really the super nerd aspect. Yeah. Video games has come out of the nerd, out of the geek era, and it's now a common popular thing to do. So now you're going to be combining the video game digital trading card games with actual trading card with physical cards. So now you're combining worlds. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely going to popularize, I hope, the trading card game scene.
The only thing that can make it better is to mix in that AR technology, and you put your actual card down and it scans it, and now it's on the battlefield and you're playing like that. That would be amazing.
I think before they decide to go in a fully virtual format, that would be the option to go. That would be such more of a spectacle to watch than, say, I'm going to watch this guy's monitor and see how well he does. If you put a card down...
PlayStation 3 had a game like that. It was called The Eye of Judgment, and you bought actual cards for it, and you used the iToy to aim at the floor and the mat, and you put the cards down that you wanted to play, and it virtually brought them up in the game, and it was really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It's reminding me of Star Wars has a couple scenes where they play like a chess version game of 3D holographic images and stuff like that. It would be cool to see people sitting around a table that would produce holographic images of their characters doing what it's supposed to do.
is hopefully technology that will be coming in the future.
Japan's already got it.
Yeah, that's pretty much Yu-Gi-Oh! What are you talking about? If only it happened in real life. You can go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Centers over there and put your cards in and they pop up on this little holodeck. It's actually really cool.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, speaking of it, we do have the technology, because even bands do this kind of stuff. Who is the one band? Gorillaz? The animated band? Gorillaz?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a whole
I was
concert
thinking
in
more of
hologram.
Tupac coming back.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that.
They did at Coachella a couple of years ago. Tupac came back.
That's ridiculous. That's hilarious.
Full on hologram.
See, yeah, they could totally do it. They're just not giving it to us, the rat bastards. They're making us wait.
We'll get there.
Speaking of technology, Atari kind of has an announcement. AMD announced the expansion of their embedded product family of computer processors with the AMD Ryzen embedded R1000 SoC. Am I saying that right? Just SoC?
SOC. Yeah, no, SoC.
The new high-performance accelerated processing unit, APU, is powering the Atari VCS entertainment platform.
The Atari VCS is a completely modern, connected gaming and media device. What I like about this, and it's basically what it is as a console, is that it's Linux-based. It's Linux-based operating system. Capable of playing popular new video games, releases, and streaming entertainment like, Hulu, Netflix, so forth. What I like about the game is it's guaranteeing that it's going to play at native 4K video support, 60 frames per second. It is a console, so let's be real, they're not going to go any higher than that. But it looks like this is going to be your all-in-one entertainment system, from what I'm understanding right now. It's going to have all of your options of streaming and downloading video games, current video games. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any exemptions from it. I haven't seen anything like that. But from what they're saying, any game that's going to be coming out, they're going to have option to it. And you also have the ability to play 100 of the all-time classic arcade Atari games. Example, Asteroids, Centipedes, Breakout, Missile Command, and Yar's Revenge. Don't know what that is, but it's there.
Out of them all, that's the one I didn't play either. I've never played Yar's Revenge. I played Missile Command, Breakout, Centipede, Asteroids. What is that game? I'm going to have to look that one up. Know your games, right?
But I'm surprised the processing power, the graphics of this console, and the ability to play these old games at current playable resolutions. I'm surprised this is coming out, to be honest. And from what I'm seeing, the Atari VCS, they're projecting that it's going to come out 2019, later this year, around roughly Q4.
Right.
Maybe, we know things sometimes get postponed, so it could be a little bit later, but ideally towards the end of the year this year. What do you guys think? We got a new console coming out. Now, every once in a while, these kind of things do come out. What was it? NVIDIA has their own console. Alienware has their own console, but they don't seem to really kick off. This seems like
I'm just wondering if it's going to use Steam's big box mode or something like that, because it's Linux based. It's running on a Linux operating system, and it's not just an emulator. It's meant to do so much more. So is it a computer now, or is it a console, or are we mixing? I know there's a Steam box, and Steam having so much of Linux, but that brings us to the giant question of, what about Borderlands for this system?
What caught my attention with this was it allows people to install any other operating system side by side with the Atari operating system. That's what caught my attention through the whole thing. That was pretty interesting.
I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. As it comes to a console, how would you do anything like that? So then if that's the case, then we're kind of also going with what Bomb said there. It's the first mixture of PC console.
Right, exactly.
Because it is console, because it runs at exactly console specs. If it was PC...
It's actually going to be better than consoles right this moment.
Well, I mean, this is what they're supposed to run.
Ryzen, it running that Ryzen, comparatively, the Xbox One and the PS4 are running about an AMD FX 8350, which is what I run in my personal machine. Like, I essentially have the specs of a new console minus a video card here or there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes down to this, it's running the whole new class of processor. Even the Xbox One or the PS4 aren't running a Ryzen, or they may be running Intels that are close, but a lot of it is AMD that most consoles use.
Right. But the idea of 4K 60 frames per second, that's kind of like the niche of consoles that we were guaranteed that we're going to run you at 4K 56, but they don't.
You mean 4K, upscale, cough, PlayStation 4 Pro, cough.
So, like, if this actually, and from the hardware that it's using, I very much believe that it can run at this. I'm wondering, one, because I've seen a picture of it, but I haven't seen, like, a pencil sitting next to it, so actual size, I don't know. They can make things very small anymore. But if you're able to adjust things like the operating system, I'm wondering, would you be able to upgrade the hardware, such as the graphics cards and stuff like that? Because if that's the case, then we do have a complete merger PC console. The first one ever. That's insane. It's an all-around total entertainment system. And Atari is the, like... Didn't Atari... No, it wasn't Atari. It was like their competitor. I was going to say, isn't there the old Atari that
it was like Pong was the first one, but Atari was the first one to come out with real sort of cartridges of sorts that made it big.
Right. I was thinking of the competitor for Atari that was basically a computer in your TV that allowed you to change... circuits and stuff
Commodore
like Commodore
64 and what is it? There's one that starts with a Z. Our British fans are going to yell at me in the comments down below.
It was the Commodore that I was thinking of, though. But I'm excited for this. One, because I don't like DVDs anymore, and something like this would allow me to watch anything that I still wanted to watch. Hulu, Netflix, digital downloads of movies. But it would probably still give me the same free... Actually, it might even give me more free range. Because I wonder, if something comes out exclusively for PlayStation, this game runs both PlayStation, Xbox, Steam kind of games. Would you think that maybe that exclusive would at some point be available to this format? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. It's another console coming into the console war.
Yeah, which is already very broad.
Yeah. I think their best bet would be to stay the Steam route.
Yep.
Well, does it even say if it has a disk drive? Because that's what I'm wondering. Like,
That's true.
We're probably going fully away from discs now with the whole announcement of Microsoft's essentially Xbox One diskless, console that's going to be cheaper than the one that takes disc.
Yeah. Well, that's because Microsoft is starting to go the route of streaming games now. At least they're in the works of trying to do that, where you no longer will need physical copies of your games. You can stream all your games.
You mean the discless Xbox that just came out for $250?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, the crazy part is about all this is, I've talked about this for years, is that it's gonna be a diskless download world like everybody has amazing internet. Not all of us do, but at the same point, we all wish we did.
If we can get a picture of this up here, it looks like a modem.
Yeah, it really does.
it looks like a modem or a router. That's all it looks like. I'm not seeing a way to insert anything into this device.
It's kind
There's
of
probably a couple of USB ports so that
Yeah.
you can plug in and charge
Yeah,
your controllers
HDMI.
or whatnot. But the whole thing is that now we're compacting. Now how are you really getting cool? It's getting even worse.
What do you mean, like cool as a person, or cool as in the temperature? Of the product?
Like the temperature, like
Yeah.
the products always tend to fail because of heat and like the biggest known fails of PlayStation 3s and Xbox 360s were how people had them set, that the graphics card or CPU pulls off of the board and boom, you got your yellow light or your red ring of death. You know what I mean? So what's going to stop that on these new consoles now, just because you drop the drive and make them download? I don't see much cooling effort then if you just make it smaller.
Well, no, it's because they're going to then come out with a attachable fan, external fan that you can attach to your console that you have to buy separately. That's always been the catch.
I know Microsoft is on the works with a new console to compete with the PS5 that's coming out, that's going to be backwards compatible and everything with the PS4. But where the problem's coming in is, I always imagine Microsoft just going straight to PC. Like now we're downloading things always. Here, I'm just going to sell you a controller to hook up to your computer.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that they even care about the Xbox anymore, to be honest. They should have just tried to figure out a way to convert their Xbox players to PC players. Computers aren't that expensive anymore.
No, they're not. And spec-wise, and even with all the videos online, which we were just talking about earlier, to show you what to do in a game, there's also videos to show you how to upgrade your computer. As long as you don't have this nice tiny little thing and you bought what you thought was a gaming or a full-size computer, you can upgrade it any which way you want in that case.
Right. I'm surprised consoles just haven't died because of how much more advanced PCs are. I can understand why, though, because it's easier. People just want to pick up and go. So they're console players.
Yeah, well, now they don't. You have to download.
Yeah.
You just have to download anyways.
You gotta hope that your internet's
you don't
good
just
so
put
you
your
can
disc
stream
in.
Those are some fighting words, Tommy.
Hey, man,
But like you were saying about this new Atari, it's going to be a nice thing to see where it goes for that whole system, because we know where Microsoft wants to go. They want to go that whole download route where it doesn't matter if you're on a PC or one of their homemade PCs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're pretty much, even though I say I don't understand why there's still a console around, Xbox and PC are pretty much meshed. You can play Xbox games on your PC now. Like, you really don't even need an Xbox anymore. I don't have an Xbox, and I can play Xbox games. But in my mind, I don't know. PC Master Race for life. I used to be a console guy. Not gonna lie, I had all of the consoles up to, I even had the Xbox One. But I've just, second I got to World of Warcraft and a computer, EverQuest and stuff, like I was just like, I can't go back. I had a computer that lasted me 7 freaking years. 7 years. I was able to play on that computer. No console lasted me more than 3.
I agree with you there. As soon as I started playing on the PC, I love it. Keyboard and mouse. It's awesome. Sometimes you get that game there that you need like a gamepad for, but if I didn't have the luxury of being able to afford a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One to be able to play those exclusive games on there, because no, I'm not gonna download an Xbox game on my computer. No way. But if I didn't have the luxury of that, I wouldn't miss it. As long as I had my Nintendo and I had my PC, I'd have enough. I'd be happy. But as far as the console race goes, Nintendo won, in my mind, by the way. But But I agree with you. Except for Nintendo, PC Master Race, absolutely.
I'm surprised how well Nintendo's actually doing, because they've kind of been the runt of the litter for the longest time.
Yes.
But they, in this last year and 2019, because I think we're all going to be surprised with what Switch does. Even though they don't come out as the mature console, because it's real, Nintendo's kind of geared toward children. Not that there's a problem with that, because video games are for children, for the most part. But they came out of nowhere with a great console, and a console that works well. They had a little bit of hiccups at the beginning, but they instantly fixed it. That's right there alone more than you can say about PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I remember in the last 2 versions of Xbox, I would buy it brand new, and I would either have to return it, or I would have to do some jerry-rigging to figure out how to get the thing to work properly. Like, they just never seem to work the first year you buy one. And then, like, after a year or two, they slowly start to make fixes.
Yep, I definitely agree. Nintendo has come a long way, but that doesn't mean that they're getting every game or every game that comes out.
If only they got every game.
Plague Tale. A Plague Tale Innocence. Developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Home Interactive. For PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. A Plague Tale Innocence will offer an adventure supported by an original scenario. Gameplay that blends action, adventure, and stealth phases. And follow Amisha and her little brother Hugo, both orphans and on the run from the terrifying Inquisition. Our young heroes will also need to survive against an even greater danger, supernatural swarms of rats that appear with the Great Plague infecting across cities and countryside. It has an original story featuring 2 young orphans on the run from the Inquisition, gameplay that blends action, adventure, and stealth, and survive against the supernatural swarms of rats. There is a 12-track sound selection from the game that's also available on vinyl as part of pre-orders of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions at some retailers. And it's coming out on May 14th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The story looks heart-wrenching. I probably will be avoiding this. I'm not one for tearjerkers.
I don't know how much of a tear... It looks creepy as all HE double hockey sticks. It's really weird. I mean, the sense of the plague, you really feel it watching the trailer of this game.
Oh yeah.
What are they called? Supernatural? Or
swarms.
Yeah.
Supernatural swarms.
Yeah, the rats that, and you see it. They're carrying around a light. The rats hate the light, but then the second you take the light away from something, they just devour it like a piranha. One of them's gonna die. Hugo or Amicia, or however you say her name.
That's why I can't play, because I know I'm gonna get attached to one of these, or both of these characters, just to have one of them die in the end. I can't do it. I'm gonna save myself the heartache, and I'll just watch.
There you go. I'm surprised that they're releasing a vinyl soundtrack to go with this. I mean, I know it's that.
Are you kidding me?
That you don't see that too often.
I'm sorry, but I listen to a lot of music made by composers for video games, and pretty much all of them release it on vinyl at least once.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that they do release it on vinyl, but you don't see them releasing it with games in the sense of a pre-order. Usually it's a digital download of a track or something like that. But to have an actual copy and it be a vinyl is pretty rare for a video game. And pretty awesome. There's not too many people have record players anymore. But it seems like it's more on a rise, actually. It's like one of those retro things that are cool again.
I wonder if it's just for like a collectible or just for show that you hang it up on your wall and say, hey, look at what I have.
Oh, probably.
I'm never going to be able to play it, though.
I'm sure.
I'm sure that's what most people do with it. But those records, those vinyls, they actually have the real music on it. So it's one of those, it's nice and beautiful to start with, has a wonderful face, and then it's, well, not by scratching, just normal play, unless it's actually cooked in like that, and then that's a nice vinyl then.
You're going to be 90 years old. You have the Plague Tale soundtrack on vinyl. You start playing it, and it's just making all of them weird, creepy sounds that an old vinyl that's been played a lot. And it's just going to add to the ominous feel that you get. The soundtrack is creepy for this game. It's good, but you really feel the suspense.
That's awesome, because music in a lot of games, especially those that are story-driven, can make or break it.
Yes.
The music is the immersion. Also, on top of that, voice acting. If you have a voice actor that's just kind of there reading lines, you can tell. And all of a sudden, you're not interested anymore.
Division 2. I know you guys haven't played it, but it's some of the corniest voice acting I've ever heard in my life. So forced. I have a favor to ask of you. You need to do it. Oh, the hell with this. What? What? It's so bad.
Someone was having a bad day recording.
Yeah, it's so terrible. Good game, other than that, but it's terrible. But I agree with you. Voice actors, and the music, the soundtracks of games, the orchestras. Like we said before in the first podcast, Final Fantasy was one of the ones that did it right. Their soundtrack was right there where it needed to be to make you love those games. And you're seeing that more and more with games.
Did the composer of the Final Fantasy games remain the same? Or was it different for everyone?
They used the same one for a lot of stuff, but it has changed. I can't remember one because I can't pronounce Japanese names, so I apologize. I'm not even going to try to. But it has changed, the orchestras used and composer. But they tend to stay in the same general group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I love the progression of music that we've had so far throughout gaming. Like, I played a lot of Nintendo titles, Super Nintendo, all the way. I did a lot of gaming. Still do, unfortunately. But that's why we know our games. But when I think about a game, the first game I can really think about that gave me a music feels would have to be Star Tropics for the NES. It just seemed like everywhere that you went in that game, there was always a different music beat, something to fit along, going through the dungeons, all of that.
I never had the privilege of playing that game.
It is actually on the Switch, on the NES,
That's
classics.
Right. But you have to be paying for Nintendo Online to have that.
Nope.
Yeah, see. Like I said, luxuries. So, we covered Felseal Arbiter's Mark, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions, the Atari VCS, and Plague Tale. All of that is on the website, Gameology.news. All of that and more. Reviews, editorials. So give it a look. We were branching off from A Plague Tale Innocence having their 12-track soundtrack selection into the importance of music in games, which I think we all agree how important it is.
Of course, Bomb deviated first. That's how it always happens.
But the reason I asked you about the Final Fantasy composer is because my favorite composer is Koji Kondo, who does the Mario music, Zelda music, and I can't even name everything that he does for Nintendo, but he is incredible. Like, from the original Legend of Zelda game, where there were... I don't even remember how the music was made in that game. I know it was technical. I don't even know how it worked. But just from the genius of making the theme that we all know and love to Breath of the Wild and incorporating it all. And every game has never failed to have the kind of music that you just know. And seeing the trailer come out for Link's Awakening being, I don't even want to say remastered, it's completely new.
Yeah.
But just hearing the music in that, it's like, it throws you back. So music is kind of like food to me, and in a way like books. Food is really good at triggering your memory. So if you taste a certain food, you think back to your grandma, your mom, or a place that you ate something. It helps trigger your memory. Books help you travel the world. Music kind of does both for people. It's kind of a psychological thing, but it does both for people. It will take you to a place, it will remind you of something, and it sticks with you forever. So, sticking with the themes throughout games, I think, is important, for that reason. You'll always be familiar with it, you'll always relate to it.
That's one thing that you do definitely notice in prolonged games like Mario, or I don't want to say prolonged because that makes it kind of sound negative, but extensive games. They have the same general sound. Even if the soundtracks get better in quality, more instruments included, so forth, it's still generally the same tune that you first fell in love with, and now years after you've fell in love with that sound, anything that sounds similar to that just takes you right back to that feeling that you originally had. Now what sucks is when they create a game with this awesome soundtrack and it bombs. It's happened, but the soundtrack still sounds good. It still gives you that feeling. Talking about composers, the composers, because you did ask the question before earlier about Final Fantasies. I looked it up real quick, and actually, it looks like it's pretty much for the most part been the same person for the longest time, and now there's another person in the mix that's probably working with this guy. I, again, don't want to try and say the names because I'm going to butcher them, but I feel like I have to. I'm only going to say the first names.
Do it. We need to hear it.
Do it.
Nobu, Umatsu. Nobu.
That's probably pretty close.
Probably.
No, that's good. Nobu Umatsu?
That is the original composer of Final Fantasy VII. I haven't delved back further to see if he's been the same one throughout. But then there's him in the newest Final Fantasy and online, and Masashi Hamauzu. Butchered it.
I'm sorry.
Butchered it.
I have to laugh.
Nope, it's okay. Shout out to the community. Hork's gonna get a laugh at it.
But he seems to be the newest one. This Mash guy. That's what I'm going to call him, Mash guy.
Okay.
But it seems to be the same guy. So it's no wonder that these games keep the same original sound, because it looks like they find a composer that they like to work with and they stay with that composer. Almost as much as that the composer is as much involved with the development of the game as the actual developers. Because I'm sure they work hand in hand. Like, this scene needs to have this dramatic appeal, and I've seen documentaries of how they do that. They'll watch cinematics with no sound, and then they'll create the orchestra and whatnot that goes along with it. But you kind of have to also think, or at least feel that composer is in the room while they're putting together a cinematic, being like, I feel the bass hitting here, boom, boom, so you need to have some kind of effect that's happening in this area, like, boom.
It's a rough part. Thinking about it, when I think mostly about music and recording, and where I have the most of my memories is actually from MMOs. Like playing those games, you go into a certain zone and you hear this theme or this chime, and you know that you're there.
Sound effects, too, are big in MMOs.
Yes.
Especially when you're in a battle. You listen for that sound effect. You need that sound effect so that you know what's coming.
I don't like talking about WoW much because, well, it's just a demon. Sorry, WoW fans. But it's just a demon, but I understand the music that goes into it. Like, each zone has its own music. Each raid, each dungeon, everything has their own theme, their own sound. And so much time's putting in. And that's what always brings me back is the MMO sound.
Yeah. They do definitely put a lot of work into the soundtracks of games and the feels of cinematics. What do you think is like the worst? What do you think is like the worst game soundtrack that you guys have heard?
The worst game soundtrack.
I don't mean to be the person that's like, "Ooh, this game sucks. Soundtrack's terrible." But there's so many games out there that have such good soundtracks. Like, it's hard. I'm trying to think of it right now, and maybe I just haven't played a game with a terrible soundtrack. But I'm finding it hard to actually think of a game.
I think worse than a bad soundtrack is, I don't want to say no soundtrack, but where you have games with areas that are lacking sound when there really should be. And I can't think of anything. Not right now.
One game I'm thinking of.
I can't really think.
And Hork is gonna not like this comment because this is his favorite game. One thing that I don't really like is when there's a lack of soundtrack and there is only sound effect. Yes. You know what I'm talking? Like, you're walking through and all you hear is a bunch of crickets chirping, birds in the air, something like that. I'm imagining
Ultima Online right now.
Yes.
Walking through a city with the chickens barking and the cows mooing and nothing else is going on.
Yeah. The game that I'm pointing out, Asheron's Call. Now, it's a good game. It's a good game, so I'm not saying it's a bad game. But is it soundtrack qualities, since we're talking about that, I don't like that. I don't like when it's just sound effects. I do like the feel of music because then the music helps you with certain emotional responses that you normally wouldn't get. You know, like when you're in a fight and there's that emotional, just battle music that's happening. You know, you're in a battle. You know things are...
I'm gonna dig back into deeper days. When those games came out, they had a lot of... I don't even know if this is a program anymore, but WinMX. A lot of games had integration of that. So a lot of people listened to their own playlists of MP3s on their computer at the same time they were playing these games. They weren't actually listening to the game's online music.
Right.
Not something we kind of think about now and appreciate.
That's true. That's true. Now I gotta back it up with, you know, it's the soundtrack wasn't necessarily an important feature within the game of Asheron's Call. The gameplay and the story is what made that game. But I am...
Just like any old MMO, right?
Yeah, really, because it seems like music wasn't necessarily an important thing back then. It was more along the adventure.
No matter how much I say that I hate the bucking and bok and all that, I still love Ultima Online.
Yeah.
I still play it to this day.
Yeah. You get lost in, it's almost entranced in the emptiness of sound and the same repetitive sound. It's you get used to it. You hear that bucking in your sleep.
or Diablo 2 cow level farming. Oh God.
No.
Moo.
No.
Moo.
Oh my God. What is his name? What is his name? Stay a while and listen.
Oh, Resident Evil 4. Or no, Deckard Cain.
Yes, Cain. You will never, ever forget that voice when you hear it. You know that is Cain. I heard him in Diablo 2. I don't know if it's the same guy as in Diablo 3, but it's pretty close. You will always recognize that voice as Deckard Cain once you've played that game.
I just had a Resident Evil 4 flashback moment where it's like,
that's another thing.
What are you buying? What are you selling?
He does that pretty well. It's kind of creepy. Music is important in games. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there right now. Musical instruments in games. I'm taking it there, guys. When you have a musical instrument that is incorporated in the game and has a magical effect, it's awesome. So let's take that a step further, and now you're playing the instrument, and it teleports you, it makes the rain, it calls a horse, it makes the sun rise, it makes the sun set. I think everybody knows where I'm going with this. So there's that.
well, it goes further. It goes into Spirit Tracks, where you actually had to blow on the mic to play a magical instrument that you had for your DS. And they added a lot of that stuff into Zelda, incorporating music, which I know where you're going. You just forget that there's more than that ocarina.
No, don't forget Wind Waker. Wind Waker wasn't even about a musical instrument. It was about a baton. It was about having the Wind Waker. That's what the baton was called. And Link was the Waker of Winds. And he commanded a song with the baton. And he actually had characters, the sages he was awakening, that had instruments that he conducted. So that was really cool. And that's one thing. I'm not saying that Zelda's the only game that's ever done it, but it's definitely the biggest to incorporate music so heavily in everything, basically everything that they do.
Well, them and their play on everything, because they are remaking, which is one of our other topics here, of what do you guys think of the Zelda remake of Link's Awakening?
I think it looks cool.
It does look very awesome.
One of my first dives. I did play the original Zelda a little bit, but my first real big dive into the Zelda series was Link's Awakening. I'm excited to play it. I wonder if they have the same chicken issue.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I've never...
Where you can get attacked by the chickens if you attack the chicken in town.
Well, I think that's in every game.
Oh, is it in every game?
That's a staple of Zelda.
Is
it? That's a staple now.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm excited because for people like me who maybe only got half an hour into the game and never finished it, even though I basically know what happens, I've never experienced the game, and it's going to help the younger generation and people like myself who didn't really get into the Game Boy or get it on the Game Boy Color or whatever else it came out on, be able to experience it the first time in a brand new way. I'm sure the story and everything, nothing has changed at all, but it looks absolutely amazing. Would I want them to continue to do Zelda games like this? Absolutely not. But I think it's perfect for this game.
Yeah. And I'm sure it didn't take too... I mean, it's almost an exact copy of the original game, just with upscaled graphics. So I'm wondering how much is copied from the original. Because they obviously had to rebuild it from the ground up. They couldn't use the same 16-bit, whatever it was, 32-bit original game. But
right.
It looks identical. If I'm to close my eyes and play the game right now, and then just put the graphics on top of it, it's the same exact game, and I love it.
Except for his smile.
Who?
Link's smile. His face. Oh, there's something about Link's face in that trailer. Oh, man.
I wonder if Link is going to make sound effects. Because I don't think that until maybe A Link to the Past, he didn't make any sound, as far as I know. We know he doesn't talk, at least not so that you can hear. You can see that he does. I mean, you respond as the player. But I wonder if they'll do that, if they have a voice actor that they have now that does that all the time.
From what I remember playing in the Game Boy Color, like, I played the original and Game Boy Color one. Like, I pretty much got a Game Boy Color for this game and, Pikachu, the version of Pokemon, the Pikachu version. Yep, that was about it. But I do remember sounds of sorts, like when you run into the wall, things like that Link said for some reason. But other than that, it was the typical. But I'm just happy to see that it's coming to another thing. I can imagine all of the other console ones, like this platform being remade. I think it would be really nice. I'd love to see a Link to the Past or even the first Zelda in this, manner.
Definitely.
It would do well on the Switch if they recreated or remastered the original games and old school games. Because I guarantee it that a lot of kids won't play these kind of games just because they don't look like the games they play, graphics-wise.
Right.
Which kind of is terrible, because the story is going to be the same. It's the adventure and the feeling of the game is going to be the same. It's just the only thing that's different is maybe more sound effects, better sound quality, and better video quality.
Well, see, that's the problem. We go back up to the Atari thing with the 4K. Like, imagine 480p and 4K upscale.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching a very blurry YouTube video.
So, I was thinking, do you guys know actual, sound? Could you mimic, by humming, a sound from a game?
What do you mean, a sound?
For instance, Zelda, when you're done with it. Bum, bum, bum. Oh shit, how's it go? Bomb, you could probably help me out with it. When you're done with a battle, it makes the same exact sound.
From Final Fantasy?
From Final Fantasy.
Ba 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 ba.
There we go, yeah, that. I'm not that musically inclined, so. But, how... I was thinking...
I had a ringtone that was that for a while.
Oh yeah, we heard it a lot.
Could you throw out a couple of I know this is kind of just off the cuff. Could you throw out a couple sound effects or sounds that would be in a game to potentially try and guess to see if we could get it right? Just to show
That's a good one.
Just to show the effectiveness of how a certain sound in a game just resonates and stays with you for so long, like the Final Fantasy one. I can hear it in my head. I can't mimic it, unfortunately.
That's the only thing I can hear in my head now.
But another one like Mario. I
think we all have a lot of Marios. I'm thinking dun, 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 dun. The P-switch.
Oh. And the star sound, that's a very iconic one right there.
Yeah.
I don't think I can mimic them, though, that well. That's the problem. Bad mimic, Bomb. Bad.
Well, you have dun 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 dun. Does anybody know what that is?
It sounds familiar. Dun, 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 dun.
How about, hey, listen?
No. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that wasn't humming.
That's voice acting. Dun 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 dun. That's the item catch sound from Zelda. So when you pick up an item. There's even one.
Everybody knows that.
Oh my god.
I'm Ralph and I'm gonna wreck it.
I mean, close. It's arcade, but go.
Oh, it's Pac-Man.
Yeah,
it's Pac-Man. Wow, how did I not know that right away? Does anybody have a favorite voice actor?
Yes. I can't... Now,
Ooh.
this is terrible. I can't say favorite, but it's someone I like. And he's in a lot of games, and once I've started paying attention to voice actors... shoot, what is his name? He's the voice for McCree in Overwatch. He's got a D&D thing for Geek and Sundry. What is it? I'm looking it up
You
right
have
now.
Google.
I know, I'm looking it up right now.
Does everybody know the voice actor for Mario?
It's me and Mario. No, I don't.
This is one of the things that I like is when a voice actor remains the same. Charles Martinet, I think I'm saying it right. He goes to conventions and he'll sign and meet and greet with people all the time.
He's got to be old. Wasn't
yes.
the last time we went to? Now I don't remember if we actually saw him, or if he was actually. If this is even the right place, my memory's terrible. Wasn't the voice actor for Bowser? Which I don't know what is really voice actor for Bowser. Wasn't he at Too Many Games?
He was. Harvey Atkin was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. As soon as I started reading that, I'm like, nope, that's not right.
Well, while you're thinking of it, my favorite voice actor is Matt Mercer.
I've never heard of him. Apparently it's Kenny James for
Kenny
Bowser.
James. Kenny G. Matt Mercer, like I said, he's the voice actor for McCree in Overwatch. He's got a laundry list forever long of voice acting. But I mostly like him from, he's the dungeon master in this Geek and Sundry YouTube D&D thing that they run. The way he talks, this guy, you can always point a voice actor out, I think. Because the way they speak...
Oh yeah, there are some that you can always hear.
Yeah. They'll go from just talking to you normal, and then they're telling you a story, and all of a sudden they'll break out in some kind of dialogue. It's like, it's weird, but it's awesome. And the way that they speak, they can put so much character and so much emotion and drama into just talking.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Mercer's that way. I really just sit around and watch his D&D just to hear how he interacts with people. And he plays D&D with a bunch of other video game voice actors. Well, I should just say voice actors because they're not exclusive to video games. So they're all in their like own voice actors kind of mindset. There's this one barbarian character, Grom, and he talks like he's a barbarian. But they're so well. I love voice actors. I wish I could be one.
What about voice actors that do more than one character?
See,
I know one.
my favorite voice actor would have to be Laura Bailey. She is very awesome, very good actress. She's in so many games. She played as Rain in the Blood Rain series. She's Jaina in the Warcraft series. She's in the Uncharted series. But where I know her most from is the Saints Row series. I believe it's voice actor 2 is her, and it is just an epic time listening to that. Because this same person does anime and so many other things, and you could hear all of these inflections in all these games, which is probably who Dora's going to talk about next, of the person she really likes, of,
Who do
coming
you
through.
think?
Would it start with a Steve and end with a Bloom?
No, this is strictly game related.
But that is game related. How many games is he in? Like, I've heard him how many times playing zombies recently.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Steve Bloom does do a lot, just a lot in general. From cartoons to games, and a lot of the times it's extras. It's extra sound effects. And credit to those people who all they do is zombies and monsters and everything. Steve Bloom and Frank Welker are two of my favorite voice actors, and that's a lot of the time that's what they did. Was beasts, zombies, extras, just sounds.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, Steve Bloom is actually in the Zombies game for Black Ops. He is a main voice.
As zombies?
No,
that's
himself!
right. You're right.
Jeez. How could you miss that Wolverine voice anywhere? He's voiced Wolverine in how many games?
Yeah, you're definitely right.
He's done a lot of crap. I mean, I looked up the Laura person as well, too, and just TVs and movies, well over 45.
TVs, movies, there'll be games that you don't even realize she voice acted in.
Yeah.
That's the awesome part.
Yep. That's the cool thing about voice actors.
Yeah. They sound nothing like that when they talk in their normal voice. Sometimes they do, because their natural voice is pretty on par with the character that they're playing. But
right.
Yeah, it's crazy how they can go from because just in Steve Bloom, for example, like you said, he does play Wolverine in the animated TV show, but I don't know who he plays in Ben 10, but he's in Ben 10.
He plays Spike in Cowboy Bebop, and he's Starscream in Transformers.
See, like,
and Transformers Prime.
Completely different.
He has, yeah, exactly, completely different. But he's amazing at both of them. I would never replace them. And apparently, looking this up now, he's gonna be Sub-Zero and Baraka in Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh my god.
That just alone makes me excited.
You gotta hope.
Which leads us into another topic: Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to come out on the Switch.
That's gonna be it. I don't know if I'll play it because I'm not into those kind of games, but they're fun to watch, and that's really what I get my enjoyment out of, is watching people do the crazy combos. But in tie with music and just in the game in itself, the
fighting games.
But the first trailer that they dropped for Mortal Kombat 11, where they kind of had that guy rapping to Raiden and Scorpion fighting each other.
Right.
That was awesome. I loved that trailer. I mean, I know that the trailer got a lot of flack because people are like, what's the point of this? I mean, if you actually listen to the lyrics, he's actually singing about Mortal Kombat stuff. Or he's rapping about Mortal Kombat stuff. But the way that they mixed that with the natural sound of Mortal Kombat was just right on point. And that made me almost want to buy the game.
See,
That's
I love
awesome.
fighting games in general. They're a big genre for me. Like, I have a fight stick, everything like that. I love to play them, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it on the Switch though, because if I have to pick something, it would probably be the Switch to buy it on. Because who doesn't want to fight on the go?
Right.
Absolutely.
The Switch isn't I don't want to say not all that bad. If you're using the controller, handheld, I can't do the handheld.
Right.
But if you're using the controller, it's small enough to fit in your hand, but it's not too overly small that I think that it would be okay for button mashers like that. But your fighting stick is like by far the best way to go. They might even come out with something like that. Since Mortal Kombat 11 is coming out on the Switch, who knows? Nintendo might even come out with a fight stick. Or there might even be one that it's only USB hookup. I don't see why you couldn't get like an all-in-one console, like, you know what I mean, one that can just be connected to any of them.
I know what you mean. It's just they got to be able to read it. Like,
right.
And that's the thing. We need more fighting games on the Switch in general, because without it, you have no purpose for a fight stick.
Right. you imagine if instead of actually coming out with a fight stick, they came out with fight Joy-Cons? So, like the old Pac-Man games where it was a table and you stared down onto it, but you played with your little joystick and buttons there. So say your left Joy-Con that does all of your maneuvering is actually the stick that you would move around, and they kind of made the right Joy-Con a little bit bigger for your mashing of buttons, and you could play it on the go. I don't know. That would be interesting.
That would be.
It would be nice. I remember playing this game in the arcade. It was almost along the lines of like Fight Night, but you just had two joysticks on it, and one was the one hand, one was the other. So you would punch, jabs, swing around. Like, I love those style arcade games. To bring that to the home, to like use a Joy-Con like that would be so much fun.
Well, it's like the movement of control of your controllers in combination with buttons, or the movement of your joystick or D-pad in combination of buttons to create cheat codes of sorts originated from fighting games like this. What's the most classic one? It's like up down A B or something like that. That came from Mortal Kombat.
No, that was you just did the Contra code.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that was a Contra code. Mortal Kombat in arcades, when you press the right combinations of buttons, you might in the arcade get big head mode or things along those lines, because you put in a key set of right pictures.
Okay. All right, I misunderstood that then. I always thought that came from fighting games.
No, that was Contra. That's the 30 life code.
The 30 life
right
code?
There.
Up,
down, left, right, A, B, A, start.
Cheating bastards, you would know that.
I would know that. Okay, sometimes 30 lives wasn't enough on Contra.
But what a fight stick will not help you with, at least I don't think, would probably be Super Smash Brothers.
No? Well, there's a lot of moving around compared to other.
Right. You can change the controller configuration now, which might help you, but it's not a combo based system. Which is why I kind of excel at it. You combine shielding, jumping, dodging with smashes and quick punches, and there is a different type of combination involved. It's not a combination of buttons, it's a combination of moves.
Right.
I guess. So we just found out Joker from Persona 5 released April 17th.
Which also, to go back to past topics that we've had, is also coming out with another soundtrack, or 12 new, I don't want to say sound effects, but I guess the way that, and I don't play Super Smash Bros. I haven't played it, but I guess like every time they come out with a new character or something like that, sound elements from that character's game also comes with that character.
Yes, I forget exactly what they call them. It's not a soundtrack, it's just a song from that game. And the same thing with a stage. They'll do a stage or maybe two with that character. And this one, the stage actually will change with the music. I was watching the video for it, and the stage changes colors along with the music.
Yeah, that stage does look pretty cool. It's got like that, I want to say like old retro 70s style kind of, but with a mixture of techno, bass rave. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking retro because it's got very vibrant, bright colors.
Right.
But it also reminds me of, like, you remember the game SSX Tricky or whatever the hell it's called. No.
I loved that.
Yeah,
game.
it kind of gives me that feel, the look.
Yeah.
But the Joker character that's coming out, he looks pretty beefy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if who's the little black cat with him? I never played Persona. Is that a character that's already in Super Smash Bros? Because again, I don't play it.
No.
So that's like his little minion. Because you also see in the trailer, there's the little black cat, but then Kirby's got like a mask on to look like the Joker.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'll be pretty neat to see. I always loved Kirby's ability to take on their B attack, regular smash attack. I don't know the technical terms. It's the B button for me.
Yeah.
It's always been the B button. But yeah, that's exciting to look forward to. Give me a reason to get in there and kick Joker's butt.
How many characters do they have now? Because I'm looking at a wide like image of all of their characters, kind of like a mural of sorts. And I can't even count how many characters there are. There's so many.
There were 74.
Jeez. This game's got to have
the roster's getting too big, and I still can't fight as any of them. That's why Bomb's staying quiet out of this one. I love me a fighting game, but me and Smash, that style, just don't get along. I don't have a good time pressing up and over, and yeah. Up B. Left B.
It's a different kind of reaction compared to the almost button mashing style of like Virtual Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and whatnot.
And see, I don't see it as button mashing, because every time I press one of those buttons, it should do what I want it to do.
Yeah. But
that's where people struggle with Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not any good at the game, so that's why I don't even dive into it. At least with, like, say, Mortal Kombat or something like that. Now, somebody that's not, like, a pro or somebody that's been playing the game a very long time, I can face roll my way through a match. Just by understanding the idea that if I go back and down at the same time and potentially hitting these high kicks, low kicks in combination, I might do something special. So I can kind of just, like, but in
sound effects,
awesome. But in Super Smash Bros,
it's kind of that same way in Smash, though. Like you could pretty much just spam the same things, but the problem becomes is the AI is so dumb unless you put it on a higher level, and then it becomes too hard.
Yeah.
Some levels are so hard that they become so stupid they kill themselves. It doesn't make sense.
Kamikaze. What's the idea, Dora? I mean, you both played it. So with Super Smash Bros, obviously the idea is to knock somebody off the platform. I played it way back in the day.
Yes.
What's the button combo for that? Do they have the same idea as like a low kick, high kick, low punch, high punch? No.
So there's really no set way. There's A is your light attacks, and B are basically your heavy attacks. You have regular smash and heavy smash attacks, and then A is just and they're all catered to that character. So like Fox and Falco they'll be able to shoot their guns. Well, Roy, Link, and those, they have their swords that they swing. Zelda uses magic. And the new thing with this game is that some of the attacks are uninterruptible, which is absolutely amazing for me.
Well, with like a Joker, it seems like once he gets into his ultimate form, or whatever you want to call it, he's able to reflect attacks back. Is that a normal thing?
Are you talking about the Ultimate Smash where he was like glowing and then all of a sudden something started to happen?
It's when he's got like his persona with him, where he's got the big winged demon of sorts behind him, walking with him. They call it his persona. I don't know if there's like ultimates in the game, but like I guess once he's reached a certain power.
Oh yeah, that's how it would be when you do your ultimate smash. Like, you either get an orb or build it up over in this game, and you press a button combination and it gives you your ultimate form, so you have a certain period of time or like something in front of you that you can just devastate.
Okay, yeah, because that's what is shown on here. Is he gets this ultimate form of that guy, and then it adds an extra effect to his normal light and heavy attacks, or light and smash attacks, or whatever they are. So the idea of only having a light, heavy, your light smash, your heavy smash, do they have combos in the sense of, like, if I was to tap light attack 3 times, it would be 3 different moves, kind of thing? Or would it be the same move over and over again?
It's the same move.
It's left, up, down, right. You press one of those and a button, and that's your move. And that's what always threw me off about the game. Doesn't make it a bad game, but for me, it's hard coming from Virtua Fighter, Tekken, like DOA style background.
Let me make a little correction, because thinking about Link, if you do 3 or 4 of the regular sword slashes in a row, which would just be A, he does swipe in different directions, and eventually if you hit all of them, the last one is the hardest.
Okay.
So it does do things like that.
So, like, there's your combo, in a sense. Light, heavy, some, and if they all connect, you might potentially do something different, or like a light, heavy
right.
smash.
If you're not
smash.
hitting, then he just does slash, slash. That's it.
Not gonna lie, though, when you guys first said that the Joker was coming to this, when we were having our little meeting about, hey, the Joker's coming to the Switch, in my mind, I thought of Batman Joker, and I was so excited.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I was so excited, and then, like, when I saw that it was this guy, I was like, first off, I never played any of the Persona games, so now I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
But the character's cool looking.
Place. Persona doesn't have anything over here really in the Western culture. It's very huge in the Eastern, like Japan. Like, they love the game. There's so many of them out on so many different consoles. But the problem is we're like, who is this?
Yeah.
You're who? From what? That I'd never heard of?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of like a copyright issue? I mean, come on now. There's only one Joker in this world. If you're going to go by the name the Joker.
He doesn't go by the Joker, though. He's just Joker.
He's a joke. But his combos that I have seen, or I shouldn't say combos, his fighting style that I have seen in the trailers looks pretty cool. The mixture of a pistol and knife. Also with the ability of having some kind of like dark magic of sorts. I don't really know what to call it.
Apparently you've never seen Bayonetta.
I've seen it, never played it.
But did you see her in Super Smash Brothers? Because
no.
Wow, she's got both guns.
Oh yeah?
She's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played Super Smash Bros. Probably since, I want to say, the first one came out on the 64?
Yeah, it came out on the 64.
Yeah, like that's the only time I played one, and I didn't play it that long. So
it is so much better now.
It looks it. It looks really cool. Again, I just don't get into fighting games, and I just wouldn't be good at it. But it would just be one of those games that it would raise my salty levels, and I'd be like, "How's this 5-year-old beating me?"
I get pretty angry when I play, and I can't quit on a match that I've lost. So if I go in there as Ganondorf and I lose, I'm like, I can't let this be it. It cannot be it. I have to do this again. Let's go. I'm winning. So one of the things that I'm really happy about with Smash Brothers, and this is a very minor thing, is that they brought back Takashi Nagasako, who was his original voice actor. That made me happy. So I'll move on.
Hey, if you gotta hear somebody say, let's try it again over and over, might as well be the one you like, right?
Hey, exactly.
Help me out here, because again, I'm looking at some information. What is me? Like, if you're
What?
thinking about,
Oh, MII?
yeah, because
Oh, you can make Mii fighters. So a Mii came out on the Wii. You could create a little, what's the best word for it?
Avatar for yourself.
Avatar. Yeah, it's just a little thing of yourself, or you could have it take a picture when it got to the Wii U and it would make one for you. And then you can either import that or make a brand new one in Super Smash Brothers. You can make it be, help me with this again, it's the, there's the sword fighter, which I always do, and then I think there's one with guns, and then I think I forget what the last one is.
Yeah, there were 3 base phases, I believe, that they had for the 3 essential type characters. So it gets base moves.
You can unlock clothing, so costumes and stuff.
So is this not part of the Switch? Is this something from like old consoles, or is this also on the Switch? It's just like an...
Well, the Mii is supposed to be you, Nintendo-wise.
I do not know if you can make one on the Switch, though, as your avatar.
Because it's... Just in the trailer that I'm looking at, it looks like they're fighting against normal Super Smash Bros. Characters as Mii characters. Like Mii versions of, like, Super Smash Bros. Characters.
Once you're in Super Smash Brothers, you can make a Mii.
Oh.
Yeah, to use as a fighter.
That's cool.
I miss Miitomo. Miitomo was an app that you made a character on, and you can visit other people that you were friends with. It was fun.
That's one thing that I always liked about the Nintendo, is they very much focus on interactive with other people. In maybe not necessarily battling focused ways, but in ways of just being like, let's be friendly.
No, it was all about community, everything like that. Pokemon was about battling, but at the same point, it was going out and discovering things.
Well, the new Pokemon that they have for the Switch, which I love, now I can't use it because I don't have the Switch online membership thing, but they really have this, like, you go to the what do you call it, the Pokemon hospital place,
the Poke Center.
Yeah, the Poke Center. You go there to heal your people, but then you can go in any one of these 2 doors on the side, and it allows you to interact with people to trade Pokemon with or battle them with. And I know that they had that incorporated with older ones, and it was more of like a Bluetooth thing until they incorporated being able to get online with them. But I just...
Oh yeah, we won't even go back to or IR days where you had to hold your Game Boy up to each other's.
I remember those.
Let's touch Game Boys.
So, would either of you watch somebody stream Super Smash Brothers?
I have.
I have.
That's the only way that I get any insight on these kind of games, because I don't play them, and so I get enjoyment out of watching them. Lately,
I should stream.
Yeah, maybe you should. Lately, I've been
on Dlive.
There you go. I've been watching a lot of Dlive lately to switch topics a little bit. Since you brought it up, Dlive is pretty interesting, my dudes. I know you guys aren't too familiar with it.
Not yet.
One, I am still new to it, but what I really enjoy about Dlive, Dlive.tv, just like any other video game streaming platform out there, it incentivizes a community within Dlive. Excuse me for a second. Like their Discord in itself, when you become partnered, you're basically a ambassador for Dlive. It's not a big requirement. 200 followers, lock in 2,000 Lino points, and you can become an ambassador of sorts. Now you have some rules that you have to follow to show the good name of Dlive as a company, But they make it really easy for their streamers to become partnered with them to show the support that they want to show for their streaming platform, which is one thing that I think is really missing from the big ones that we have now. Not so much from Mixer. Mixer still kind of got that big community going, but Twitch seems to really be going away from the idea of holding an overall streaming community, whereas it's more of just a community within your streamer. But that's not how it started. Very much Twitch at the beginning was, we are a community of streamers.
Oh yeah, last year in September when they broke everything up and made a whole new way of where you are or how you're found, like Twitch made a big break off. And it's like, yeah, well, your community's gonna have to find you themselves. We're not really gonna tell. We're gonna tell you some, but that's about it. You have good luck with that.
Well, they got rid of the idea of being able to have tagged your communities, and then they made you put in keywords that would help with the searches, which, it didn't help at all, really. So it got rid of the only real community aspect to replace it with keyword searches. But back to Dlive in a sense, like, not only do they have this great community feeling, the people there are very supportive. They come in, they genuinely want to chat and interact. The way that they incentivize streamers to actually stream is they allow you to make money right away. If you want to put streaming as like a job, I don't want to say Dlive is the way to go right now because it's still fresh, it's still new, it's growing still, and it's growing really fast thanks to PewDiePie. We'll get to that here.
I was going to say, we can't all have PewDiePie come into our channel and drop us money.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a second, but the way that they are doing their currency, it's using Lino points, which is a cryptocurrency. I'm not even going to pretend to understand what cryptocurrency really is. I understand it's a virtual currency. You can use.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you can use your actual money.
We just farm all resources that we can, PC spec wise, and use it to micromanage data. And yep, we got cryptocurrency. Somebody lost something somewhere.
Well, I benefit in some way. That's all I care about.
Hey.
Actually, I'm probably the one losing. I don't know. See, that's how naive I am about cryptocurrency. But the Lino points, you can immediately start donating these Lino points to your favorite streamers. So we all know that in Twitch, you have to become affiliated first before you can start getting Bitcoins. And then as you become partnered, you get more for the Bitcoins and subs and stuff like that. Well, in Dlive, your first day of streaming, if somebody was generous enough to donate to you the most Lino points that they could in one shot, which is like a ninjet, which is a little picture of a ninja on top of a golden jet flying around, and it's like, I believe it's 10,000 Lino points, which is equivalent to like $120 or something like that.
Wow.
Somebody could just give you that right away. Boom, you just made $120 your very first day of streaming on Dlive, and it happens a lot. I, being on Dlive, not streaming, watching for like 2 weeks now, have entered giveaways for Lino points. I just won a giveaway for 5,000 Lino points. So I've been going around to these low streamers, and I've just been dropping like Lino diamonds on them, like here and there. Like you can see that how many Lino points that they've acquired within that stream. So it kind of makes you want to be like, I want to help this guy out a little bit. Bam! The second you get 2,000 Lino points, you can lock those in, and then everything after that. Well, okay, no, I'm saying it wrong. 2,000 Lino points is used to lock in to become partnered with Dlive, but you need at least a minimum of 2,000 Lino points to turn in to get the currency for that, and it'll pay you in PayPal or your bank account. But I always thought that, the second I got onto it, that was a pretty cool concept. Streamers stream, let's be real, to make money. Now, it may not be the main reason you're doing it, but most streamers today are doing it to try and make some kind of future for themselves within the gaming world. And that's what they want to do. That's what makes them happy. And it's just hard.
Oh, yeah. Whether to be noticed by, like, a big gaming franchise, like, to be noticed by a community, to even be noticed by your own community and be shouted out there to get a game going. Like, streamers are not all about themselves, but they're all about their community and getting their fan base what they might like to see.
Exactly, and it makes it difficult, especially nowadays, in something like Twitch and Mixer, where you have to have such a crazy... Now, they're not too crazy because I'm affiliated on Twitch, and it didn't take me really that long to do so once I start putting effort into it. But you can go a pretty long time with no recognition at all on those platforms, Twitch or in Mix. But on Dlive, it seems to be a little bit easier. Now, there's only a fraction of the people that are streaming, but on Dlive, it seems like you could actually start to make some kind of living for yourself right away. And you don't have to worry about, I got to stream for 30 consecutive hours, I got to have this many followers, I got to have this, and this, and this, just to start making money. No, you're making money from day one. It's how well of a personality, how well of an entertainer you are, which will determine how much money you make. And that's the big goal that I think is lost in these streaming communities, or these streaming platforms, is though the popular ones are very charismatic and do have good personalities, it's almost like they were kind of molded to be that person within the community. And then I've seen people that like have crazy excitement and adrenaline and personality and have like 1 or 2 viewers. And I'm just surprised. So it's a lot harder to make it in, say, Mixer, Twitch. Dlive, I'd be looking out, guys. I'd be looking out, Twitch, Mixer. You got another competitor in the field. And they're not as strict.
Oh, yeah. It's hard finding your community just as and in general.
And it doesn't... and it helps for Dlive that, like you guys said, we're saying, PewDiePie is helping these guys out. He's thinking about dropping his other platforms and like solely going to Dlive, from what I've heard.
That's what I went searching for just now, and apparently Dlive has been around since last year or longer.
Yeah.
But of course, it takes a celebrity to put something on the map usually.
Right.
And that's what PewDiePie's done for Dlive.
And I think the reason it's going that route is because, one, PewDiePie's been scrutinized a lot for his sense of humor. Now, I've watched a lot of his stuff, and I don't necessarily think what he's done is to be considered the racist bigot that he's posted to be. He's just got a very cynical sense of humor. He's European. They tend to. I'm not going to judge a man because he tries to push the envelope every once in a while. We need people.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. If you didn't like him, you wouldn't watch him. You know what I mean? Right. He has so many viewers, everything like that. I personally don't watch him, but I don't have the time to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I might not laugh at his jokes or things like that. But if people want to watch him, that's the whole deal. Like, I've seen him disappear, like, off of the YouTube map because he said one bad thing that he said as a fucking joke.
Right. So with his, like, being his introduction to excuse me, I keep burping. I got gas.
Good.
With his introduction to, like, Dlive, he immediately started pumping money out to the community. Now, he's made a lot of money already on Dlive. But right now he's doing donations to random streamers. I don't know what time they do it. Let me pull this up, Because, okay, in another 11 hours, 51 minutes, and 56 seconds, 55 seconds, 54 seconds, 53 seconds. I'm not going to keep going. He's going to do another donation. PewDiePie has already donated $28,000 in his first stream to other streamers. So he's helping out the little people, the hashtag support creators. Like, he's really trying to help out these other people that are trying to create something for themselves. And from what I'm understanding and from what I'm reading, the remaining donation pool is 1 million Lino points, which is equivalent to $12,000 US. So he's going to be donating another $12,000 the 19th at 8 a.m. It's insane that not only is he coming to this platform, he's building up the audience that he's building, but he's also taking this money that the new audience that followed him to this platform is giving him, and the audience that's here that's giving him, he's taking and he's just giving it right back to the community. More than likely not all of it, but a good chunk of it. So right here, I'm seeing it. Dlive empowers creators to reward communities. PewDiePie will donate 20,000 plus to a max of 100 streamers. I mean, between 100 people, a split of, say, $30,000-$40,000, that's a lot of money just to get.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
It is cool. It's nice to see something like that.
PewDiePie, send some money. Gameology.news.
Yeah, for real. I'll make an account right now.
Actually, if PewDiePie or anybody wanted to donate, there is a Patreon available, and a certain level, I mean, you can always join the community, the Discord community, but there's also a Patreon, and at a certain level, you can get behind the scenes of the podcast. There's a channel specifically for the Gameology Observatory.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of tiers. We just started this Gameology Space News for the Patreon. We've got things in the idea of just having your name as the credit list for the thanking you as being our patron, all the way up to getting swag bag from us, to being able to see what we talk about before we actually talk about them. You know, you can get into meetings that we would have. You could even get to the point of helping us out with the creation of the things that we would have. Putting your 2 cents in, almost like you're an investor of sorts. We've got all kinds of tiers that range anywhere from $1 to $50. I recommend definitely checking that out. Help supporting Gameology.news. Every cent we get goes straight to making our website better and making everything that we do better. Definitely check it out. Again, Gameology.news.
And as always, know your games.